allow for fair market competition from smaller players in the market at the local level, finding their niche in the marketplace rather than concentrating few global companies, sucking all the competition out of the air, so to speak. I actually also agree with Bob that we need to bring back some kind of modernized form of fair trade over free trade, and a kind of form of a modernized Smoot-Hawley, if you will, properly enforced to bring about fair trade and enforcement of the law of comparative advantage in trade, as opposed to the so-called free trade, where we don't enforce it and we trade intentionally and structurally at a loss, and we don't even allow ourselves to eventually get back to balance in trade, exports versus imports, where we'll never get back to balance in trade if we just keep trading the way we do now. We need to change that. And I also believe that we need to, ultimately, to cure the economic ills that brought on this crisis, we need to change out the entire the monetary system and the money supply, from the Federal Reserve fiat money back to Treasury-issued monetary notes backed by primarily gold and silver, but possibly other assets of verifiable value as weighted against gold and silver in addition to gold and silver coinage, to take the place of fiat money and shut the Federal Reserve down and replace the Federal Reserve completely.
Wow.
We're never going to get back to real money so that the assets denoted in real dollars won't be at risk of falling, such as the stock markets and pension funds, to zero value.
Dave, let me just stop you real quickly. What's your background? You sound like a financial guru. What's your background?
I've called before on the show, and I've talked to Bob on a number of shows over the years. You may have, or over the months at least.
Oh, I recall, yes.
I'm a lay person. I'm, as I call myself, a serious amateur. I'm a strict constructionist, and I believe in national sovereignty issues. I oppose UN and world government. I do believe in the right of our states to have sovereignty within our union, and I believe the collection of our states together need to be sovereign vis-a-vis the outside world with other nations, other groups of nations, and such as the UN, the WTO, the World Bank, IMF, so on and so forth, or we're going to lose our sovereignty. I oppose such things as the UN encroaching on our parklands and our territorial waters under the so-called Law of Sea Treaty. We're not even going to be a sovereign nation.
Amazing. Let me go to Bob Chapman before we run out of time. Bob, your response to everything he had to say.
Well, he's saving me a lot of breath because I believe what he's saying in total.
Wow. Okay.
He's absolutely right. And, he's the only one that I've heard on radio who has voiced my opinion about having tariffs. It is the only way that we can rebuild manufacturing in America, and that's on goods and services. We want to bring IBM back. We want to bring other companies that are not in the manufacturing business, and they're all going to leave, and they'll do their business offshore. All their profits go to corporations, which are in the Cayman Islands and places like that, and they don't pay taxes. It's absolutely madness.
Well, I think that we have some listeners, and it's not unusual to find out that we have listeners just like Dave from Texas who know exactly what's going on. Now, we need to multiply this, take all of this information to people that can do something with it, and that means starting your local Friday night get-togethers. We ought to devise a name for these get-togethers, and we ought to have people involved in their own future, actively involved in their own future. There's going to be more people that are going to be wanting to come to something like this that is a thinking man's gathering. We're going to be right back after this 3-minute break with Bob Chapman.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Monday edition of the Power Hour. Coming up on 55 minutes past the hour, whatever hour you're sitting in. This is Dave.
And Joyce, and I thank you for joining us in the Power Hour today, because it is a powerful time when we can gather, spread the truth, and we can share the information from person to person. And we hope that we will do it. We will continue to do this as long as we can. And I thank all of you. Let me go to, and especially I want to give a shout out to John Stokes. I believe it's KGEZ up there in Montana. Man, you have the listeners, guy. I just want to congratulate you. Thank you for calling the Power Hour. Thank you for handling the Power Hour all 3 hours. And if you'd give us a call at the Power Hour, at 573-378-6049. I'd like to talk to you today, John. 573-378-6049. John Stokes, who makes it possible for the people in Montana like Jan to hear the Power Hour. Jan, you're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Hello, Joyce.
Hi there.
Hi. I'd like to ask Bob a question.
Sure. Go ahead, please.
I've always encouraged the kids to get Roth IRAs and just leave them there, as soon as they started working at 16. And I'm wondering if I should now tell them to get it out and put it into gold and silver, or if I should just have them leave it there for 65 years or whatever until they retire.
Well, I think from what we can see at the moment, I think they should continue to keep them, but they should put them into gold and silver. So if they have that ability to do so, then they can continue to do what they're doing only in the gold and silver realm rather than other kinds of investments. Mm-hmm. Now, there has been talk and hearings in Congress that say that they would like to amalgamate all the retirement programs into Social Security. Where that's going, or if it's going to go anywhere at all, remains to be seen. And we'll know right away if this is being brought up in committee, and if it gets out of committee, that changes the whole picture. And so we have to watch that very carefully, but in the absence of that, you can still be tax deferred in your IRA or your Roth or whatever, and many pension plans. Mm-hmm. But you've got to have the ability to go into gold and silver related assets.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much for the phone call, Jan in Montana. And again, John Stokes, we salute you. Bill in Georgia. Bill, you're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Hello. Hi, folks. How are you?
Hi there.
It's good to be in your program.
Thank you.
I'd like to mention to your listening audience, if I may I mention a book that I came across? It's a Rodell book. I think it would be good for everybody.
Sure.
Okay, good. The book is called Best Ideas for Organic Vegetable Growing.
Okay, well, we're talking about financial issues right now, but I appreciate the information on that.
Basically, if you don't mind, is that on page 135, you can grow over 100 bushels per acre anywhere around their house of potatoes. Very important. Another quick thing to mention to you, too, is that I think all of us agree that if we had a real cheap energy, it would be a godsend for us all. Wouldn't you agree?
Bob?
Yeah, cheap energy's always good.
Of course.
Well, let's let him
I bet
go
he
there.
has chickens. My guess is he has chickens.
The dogs and roosters are having it out right back there. So.
Or U.S. submarines run on hydrogen. Something like that could be made available cheaply and make a tremendous change.
Yeah, but we're talking about financial issues right now. But I thank you very much, Bill, for the phone call. I know your heart is in the right place. Let's go to Hib in Texas. Hib, you're on the Power Hour. First-time caller. Go ahead, please, Hib.
Hey, Bob. The last time we talked, I was standing in a cow pasture in Montana. I wanted to pick your brains. I've become convinced that when we go to an electronic currency, that it can be gold backed because they can just declare gold to be worth whatever they want.
No,
Okay.
That's true.
Okay, we're going to be right back after this 1 minute, 10 second
1 minute,
break.
10 second. Broadcasting from the most confused, manipulated, dumbed down, and brainwashed nation on the face of the planet with all the news they hope and pray you never hear. This is the Power Hour. All right, here we go. Hour number 3 of today's daily exercise and thinking outside the corporate cage is now in session. I'm talking fast. We've got too many calls. We got guests. We got too much information. This is Dave.
And Joyce, I thank you for joining us in the Power Hour today. We're talking to Hib in Texas. Hib, go ahead with your question to Bob Chapman.
Okay, well, Bob, I've started to look at it from the standpoint that if we're going to an electronic currency, they can gold back it or partially gold back it simply by declaring it to be worth whatever they want to, and they can control that by using electronic gold trading anyway, as far as the price of gold. So is that the scenario that you're thinking is going to happen by any chance?
Well, this is what they would like to do. I don't know that they're going to be successful in doing that. The downsides are they hold the gold and we don't know what they've got, and because you can't believe a word they say. And right. So as far as I'm concerned, that's out. And, you know, these broadcasts are going all over the world, and we get letters from everybody from every other country, and they're saying the same thing. We don't want that. And they're going to have a very, very hard time trying to implement a world currency based upon some sort of a gold basis digitally. Now, digitally leads to total control of one's assets by some central group, and we'll call it the IMF, if you may, or the World Bank. And it also, having that kind of an international currency, allows countries to lose their sovereignty. They no longer have any control over their own finances, and that is a disaster.
Okay. Thank you very much for the phone call. Let's go to the next caller. John, who's the next caller? Oh, we don't have a caller. Okay. We're about out of time, and I do want to thank you very much, Bob Chapman, for joining us. Any ending comments? Where are we on the stock market or on the gold right now? Any changes that have taken place since we've been on the air for this hour?
Gold's been trading between a minus 11.5 and a minus 13.5.